And we're back. Now we got another fireside chat coming up. We got the Eric Demuth, the CEO of Bitpanda. If you don't know about Bitpanda, it's one of the coolest, biggest fintech things happening in Europe right now. And it's a company that allows you to invest in things easier. They're also supporting struggling football clubs that don't have any money. And that's going to be an interesting thing to talk about probably as well. I'm not going to do the fireside chat, but we're actually getting back our friend from TechCrunch, Mike Butcher. So without further ado, please come in, and you got 30 minutes to talk about what Bitpanda might be about and what it can do for you.
Hi everyone. Mike Butcher from TechCrunch back again, and I love these chairs are very dangerous, so be careful because we keep wanting to move around. Great to be on stage with you, Eric Demuth. I've been practicing that. CEO of Bitpanda. How did you get the name Bitpanda?
In a very pragmatic way, we got it. So 1 year after we launched, so at the beginning the name was Coinimal, and probably everybody.
Coinimal.
Yeah, well, everybody would spell it differently here. So we needed to find a name that was easy to spell in many different languages. And most importantly, we didn't have any money, right? We were bootstrapping the company, so find a name that is spellable, and then a .com domain that was for free. So that's how we ended up with Bitpanda. No further meanings.
How much did that domain name cost?
Yeah, nothing. So we didn't.
$10?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So
amazing.
The normal domain.
Well, last evaluation, you appear to Bitpanda.com is now worth $4 billion. So was that 2021?
Yeah, that was 2021. But so last year, I would say it's probably 2021. This year, I would say it's 2021 and 2024. I think that's realistic. So yeah, because also the market came back, right?
So yeah, definitely. So you're doing pretty well on the valuation. Yes. What I thought we should do actually is, let's talk a bit about Bitpanda in a moment, but a lot of people don't understand the sort of the entrepreneurship journey that you guys go through. And I think you are 3 founders, correct?
Yeah.
Originally. You are not yourself a developer, but you have, your co-founders are from engineering backgrounds, and doing that journey is a very unique journey, isn't it? And I think that a lot of people in tech, you can get a job in, I interviewed Accenture and SAP and Mercedes-Benz earlier today, and, they're very different beasts to, a kind of a startup, where you have to take out the trash and you have to, register your own .com, and you do your own cybersecurity and stuff like that. But what attracted you about the whole thing, and what kind of kept you going?
Yeah, nobody tells you about what's actually coming, so we didn't expect that it becomes that big. So the whole thing comes in many different small stages. Nonetheless, I think that because you also mentioned some bigger brands, especially for developers that are thinking of doing their own startup maybe one day, it is a very good exercise not to directly jump from maybe a consulting company where you do project after project for different companies, or working for maybe like an insurance company where they are very stable and very huge corporate. But maybe,
and I suppose especially that's important in the early part of your career.
Yeah, but if you really want to get the psychological part of being an entrepreneur, you should maybe try out for a few years to work at a tech company, at a growth company, maybe a company that has just raised a Series A, because then the madness starts. Suddenly, everything is changing after, for example, Series A, because
you've got more stability?
I wouldn't call it stability. I would call it a lot of change, because first of all, your company is not ready for the amount of money you get to scale up the company. So this is a huge part that everybody underestimates. And then all the ups and downs. Psychologically, this is a huge huge thing that nobody can prepare you, and also you can't read books about this. It is a different feeling when it hits, you know, when you have the euphoria, everything is taking off, yeah, your product works, and you're getting customers, revenue is coming. And then another part, like, okay, you're hitting the next wall, right? And then from all of a sudden, like from one day to the other, something is falling apart, and you have to fix it, and it's a roller coaster all the time. And this psychological effect is so important to get a feeling of it before you actually do it yourself, in my opinion.
You thought you were going to do something different, didn't you, before Bitpanda?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was some time ago. I'm 37 now. When I was 19 and I finished my school, like so in Germany, I'm German, Abitur. I wanted to study nautical stuff, to become a captain and go, you know, like
sailing.
Yeah, sailing, but like on the container ships, or become a sea pilot, maybe, you know, in Hamburg. And then what I did was, before I studied, I became a ship mechanic. I learned ship mechanic. So for 2.5 years, I went on the big container ships, went you know, across the whole world, and mostly in Asia. Was very, very interesting and very tough times. But what it taught me is, after a few months, I realized that's not the industry I want to be in. And if I would go directly with the studies, I would study it for 4 years, theoretically, and then jump into it and say, like, what have I done? So I finished it. So 2.5 years, it was a great experience, and this was also, I think there I learned more for being an entrepreneur than afterwards at the university in Vienna, where I studied business and finance. So
yeah, it was quite a different change.
Yes.
But obviously you believed in crypto at the time. You built Bitpanda from 2014, I think, or something.
Yeah, we started end of 13, but
13,
we
yeah.
went live 2014 then, yes.
I see. So, and obviously you've been on a lot of ups and downs. 2020, you raised $52 million, and your investor's Peter Thiel. One of your investors is Peter Thiel. Do you get to chat to Peter now and again?
Yeah, no, I talked to him twice, but actually not because he's an investor. Many media get this wrong, because he is just one of the big investors and LPs in one of the main funds, so from Valar.
Right.
But he is actually not
Oh,
Valar.
so he's an LP in one of the funds.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So
Right. So you don't get to chat to him.
So I would
much.
say no, not much. No.
Because
I met him.
there's obviously right now it's like 6 degrees of separation. You know, there's you, there's Peter Thiel, and then there's Donald Trump.
Yeah, so I think I talked to Peter Thiel twice, and that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
So
I'm being harsh.
So yeah.
I'm just kidding around, but
also I'm very neutral to this stuff. So
yeah. No, I guess it's kind of interesting because obviously he's in the news.
Yeah.
But what I think is also interesting that.
But because you mentioned Trump,
Yeah.
Trump will be a very big, or has a very big influence in my industry, because he's a big crypto advocate.
Right.
He became one, and also in the stock market, or especially for the financial markets in general in the whole world, he will be a big factor for the future. No matter if you like him or not. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, under his tenureship, the US did have quite a big stock market rally.
Yeah.
But also increased its debt mountain quite significantly. I think the other issue is that you know, the crypto friendliness, and obviously over the last few months we've seen a you know, crypto come back, or the end of the crypto winter to some extent. Where do you see that? I know that you don't like to make big predictions, but you telling me earlier about the sort of the zooming out and macroeconomic effects of it. I mean, where do you think things are right now in crypto?
I like to be very rational with these things. I'm not somebody, for example, people think like, oh, I'm a big advocate for crypto or something. No, I'm building. We're building a tech company or a platform where you can buy your things, right? This is pretty much
crypto. You can also buy metals, securities.
Yeah, everything you want to, whatever asset class you want to invest your money in. So we will have it for you. But also we focus a lot of course on crypto, because it's our home turf and we have the most coins in Europe. So 450 coins around, so and huge staking. But that's not the point I want to make here. We are more like a neutral marketplace. We're like an exchange is also neutral, right? So it's not, for example, you wouldn't see Amazon or let's say Jeff Bezos saying like, oh, this I don't know, this whatever product on Amazon is great, you know. That's not my job. So if somebody wants to buy Bitcoin, I would like to, or any other asset, I would like to give him the best user experience and the best product to do so. But I'm not, you know, an advocate of saying like, oh, you should buy, you should sell, and so on. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, sure. Obviously, it's very tough to make predictions.
But on a personal level, I'm actually very positive and very happy about how everything stabilized over the past years. And it's not about the pricing. The pricing is just a lagging indicator of what happened. And that is, most importantly, regulation. Because when it gets to a certain amount of money involved, it needs to get regulated. It's impossible otherwise. You know, governments will not allow differently. So, and we will actually see that with MiCA coming in place in Europe, and also 2025, I'm pretty sure that we will have a positive regulatory route in the US. You see that it got embedded into the financial market and to the law, and not, you know, it wasn't fought against. So this is actually very, very positive, and we see all this good development.
So where do you see regulation going? Do you see the EU improving its regulation of crypto and exchanges like yours?
It's good that that we now have a clear path forward. And what I see, and this is also our bet, that a lot of classic players, banks, but also fintechs move into the space. And we see this. This is why we built BTS, it's called, so Bitpanda Technology Solution. And it's more like an AWS idea, right? We built the whole infrastructure, and we have all the licenses. And now we can offer it to banks and fintechs.
Because you did a deal with Deutsche Bank, didn't you?
Yeah, with Deutsche Bank we're working there, but with many other banks. And the sales cycles are a bit longer. We also had to find out, but it's moving insanely in the right direction. 2 years ago, we started to talk to them, and everybody was like, yeah, okay, no, thank you. And nowadays they're coming to us because they need to figure out, okay, am I missing out something? What can we offer to our customers? So this has changed within the last 2 years massively. This is actually a very positive sign as well.
Right, I see. So things are lining up. You've got more sort of real-world partnerships. In a way, fintechs have reversed into crypto, and you've come from crypto and you've reversed out into other securities. So the worlds are gradually merging to some extent.
Absolutely, and you also see it with the Bitcoin ETF, for example. So all these things, it's merging into the classic financial world.
Very much so. I mean, you obviously there have been ups and downs. How do you you know, manage your team at the moment? Do you have and also do you interface with outside developers? Do you ever do hackathons or work with other kind of like, you know, agencies or small teams or?
Yes, that's a very interesting topic because we have gone through so many different steps across all these years. Right now, no, actually, let me start with. So when it took off a bit more, I would also say 2019, 2018, especially 2020. We had such a huge demand that we also work with a lot of external companies to fulfill our roadmap. So an isolated, more or less isolated, it's never isolated, project we also outsourced because there was zero chance we could do it in-house. Then we made the mistake 2021 with COVID, I think with most tech companies, that we hired way too fast. There was also a big learning that sustainable growth is, especially in the hiring part. So
I mean, everybody hired fast, didn't they? I mean, all the big tech companies hired
and the problem,
a lot.
The problem there was also our senior devs. Nobody was building anything anymore. They were in interviews all day. They were onboarding all day. Nobody was building anymore. So these were the times where we had the most people in the company. Where was the time where we've been the most inefficient. And we've learned from this. So now we are at a very good and healthy stage where we have people a long time on board. We all have our project, and the roadmap is actually finally on time for the first time, since ever. So actually quite happy with this. So less outsourcing. Of course, sometimes there are some projects to do so, but we try to do everything in-house and own our own knowledge and yeah.
I see. And so are you all work mostly remotely, or are you based more or less in Austria and Vienna?
We have 7 offices. So our headquarters in Vienna, I would say half of the people in the company are in Vienna or in Austria. And then the others are split around Europe. So we have a bigger office now, or moved into a bigger office in Barcelona and also in Bucharest. We have in Berlin. We also moved into a bigger one. We have Amsterdam. So there were several different offices.
One in London as well?
Yeah, we also have something in London. But we have currently the policy like 2 days in the office. So you actually have a good communication with the team, and the rest is,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've seen over the years that the exchanges have had all sorts of problems on the security side. Do you have a big security team?
Oh yeah. So how many companies in my industry do you know who can tell after 10 years in business they are first of all still there? I think all of our European competitors at the beginning, they're not there anymore. And the other part is this is actually the biggest focus, because one mistake is, this is crucial. So there we are, especially in my industry, you have to be paranoid to infinity. This is completely,
On the lips of everyone at the conference and everyone in tech, really, for the last year has been the subject of artificial intelligence, generative AI.
Yeah.
Is it something you've looked at yourself, either in product terms or for internal products or external products?
Yeah, I hate talking about AI because I feel like this is the biggest buzzword nowadays. But yeah, we also looked into this, and last year we said that there's a budget of 10 million, and we also do this in-house. And the best guy I know for this actually is running the show, and that is one of my 2 co-founders. Christian has always been our CTO, and now he's focusing on the AI part of the company. And he's the guy who has the greatest work ethics. Whenever you want something get done, you go to him, right? So I'm super happy that he built a team, and they are working on this. And so I think in the next month there will be the first showcase also, where you have like a finance advisor they have built for a long time, and you have like an endless conversation with them. So pretty much what you think your bank advisor does, who is actually just a vendor, not an advisor, you have it for 24 hours in your pocket and has infinite knowledge because of all the data, and you can ask them the dumbest question ever. You can say, okay, remind me when the next, I don't know, Tesla numbers are coming out, right? And then you can talk about it. What does the number even mean, right? So all these things. So this will be pretty cool, and this combined with your data and your what you want to achieve, this could be a fun thing for the future. So I can't wait to try it out myself.
Wow, that's like having 24/7 a broker or advisor, I guess.
Yeah, but also an educator, right? Because how many of you have received proper financial education at school? I mean, nobody, because it's not taught at school. But at a certain point in life, when you reach a certain age, you're afraid to ask certain basic questions.
Yeah.
And there you can actually do so. Yeah.
And I suppose, will you be using OpenAI's interface, or are you building your own, or your own models?
It's a mixture.
A mixture of models.
Yes, but we have found a system, because also we are in Europe, and therefore data protection is over everything. So we found a way that it's like an isolated data circle, and it's not going out.
I see. So that when can we expect that product to be out?
I don't wanna say anything wrong, and then Christian is freaking out when he sees this. But my last stand was, I think we're going into beta phase. Yeah, that's for sure. So I think in 2-3 months, we'll probably get like the first testing version for this.
Who would you compare yourself to in the marketplace? A company like Coinbase or something? Or
Yeah, I think that's the most accurate.
where do you think the differences are?
I mean, we have focused a lot on Europe, and we have probably like 400 coins more. So yeah, and other asset classes, but our focus has always been Europe. So I always like when I read the headline, company X or XYZ from the US, from the fintech area, is coming to Europe, and I always say like, they are not coming to Europe. They're coming to 27 individual states where nobody's talking to each other, different languages, different regulators. Everything has nothing to do with each other. So nobody's coming to Europe. You're coming to each country one by one. And this is why also so many fintech companies in these highly regulated landscapes, this expansion to Europe fail. And it is a huge headache because the financial markets are not harmonized. But we have solved this headache. It's a headache USP, I would say. So yeah, and this is why we're still focusing a lot on Europe, because there's so much more to do.
Are you bullish about crypto and Web3 going more mainstream over the next few years?
It is a very gradual movement. 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been invited here. But every year back and forth, you know, it's like if you zoom out, then it's going up, or the trend is going up, the adoption is going up. So there's also still the thing that in Austria there are more people owning a Bitpanda account than people own stocks in the whole country.
Really?
So the adoption is there if you have a product that is actually convenient and easy to use. From year to year, and with regulation and banks going into the space, this gets more mainstream.
But I noticed that you also launched an office in Dubai, in the
Yes.
UAE.
Yes.
So are you optimistic about the Middle East as a market?
Yes. Yes, but more from the infrastructure perspective, not from the retail perspective. This is not my focus. We would like to focus there on the infrastructure side. Remember when I said the BTS, the AWS-like infrastructure thing? This is what we're focusing on there. So provide the banks with...
Unpack that a bit more. Oh, you see, you mean working with banks?
Yes. So
right.
Our focus there is to work with the banks and fintechs to give them the infrastructure that they can, or let's have a white label solution, that they can pretty much do whatever they want in a very modular way of what we have built here in Europe.
Do you see your business splitting in two between infrastructure and retail?
Yes.
To some extent,
yes.
Almost becoming AWS and Amazon almost?
Yes. Yeah.
How do you see that playing out?
And this is also an advice I would give to everybody who would like to, who is in the consumer business. We also made the mistake when everything grew, is like, now we have FOMO, right? We have to go in all the markets and we have to conquer here and there. And then you do everything a little bit, and everything is just, you know. So have a few core markets, own them, and then from there you can go to the next market. So what we're doing is focusing on 4, 5, maybe 6, because some are already working very well, core markets, where you really, really own the country, where you localize your whole product, and then go to the next one. Meanwhile, the infrastructure we're building for ourselves, we can sell now to B2B partners, banks, etc., in other countries where we wouldn't go ourselves, or we would maybe go in 10 years, or maybe never. So two different things that have like the same synergy, because we all use the same tech stack, but it's two different kind of products that have nothing to do with each other in the sales process.
That's really interesting, because I haven't seen that many companies go in that direction. Would you say it's a sort of relatively unique strategy? Hard to
Honestly,
say.
I don't know, because in the end you have to you know, think where will you be in, you know, in 10 years, right? I like to think a bit. Let me say it differently. In our industry, where everything is super fast, you need to focus on being super flexible, shifting your priorities and your roadmap constantly. But you still need to have a strategy long term. So something that on the side that you build, that you have a bet on for the next 10, 20 years. And then you have your business where you need to be flexible all the time. So it's diversification, I would say.
Have you built the company with a sort of fairly flat management, or do you have kind of team leads, or how have you done it?
Also here, it's a development over 10 years, right? You try everything out from being, I don't know, 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, where everybody know what the other person is doing, to then, meanwhile, we were like over 1,000, and then like in the end, I didn't even know anymore who is responsible for what. And now we have like clear responsibilities, who's reporting into fields, and that is working in let's say in a more traditional way, and that is, in my opinion, working much better than.
Did you yourself have any kind of training in managing people before you did the company? Did you just figure it out as you went along?
Learning by doing.
Total learning curve?
Learning by doing, yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I mean, I studied business and all these things, right? Management, and however, these courses completely useless. Honestly, like if you would give me a time machine with and I would say like skip the business university.
Wasn't useful at all?
No.
Nothing?
Nope. Now, what did I learn? Then I had a lot of courses for accounting. I have an accounting team. I haven't done accounting for years. So, like you get a little bit of basics, but in the end, finance or like a business studies, it's more like an extended high school. A bit more math, a bit more, but in the end, all the skills you need to build your own company, you don't learn there. 100% not.
It's just doing it on the job.
Yes. Yes. This is and talking with people that have a lot of experience and reflect.
Did you lean a lot on mentors? Did you call up mentors and advisors?
No, but I would do nowadays. So I see the value of it. I didn't, but I have fantastic co-founders. So very heterogenic team. So we're very different people, completely different. But the key to this has always been no ego, no bullshit, no drama, nothing. Right? So you can have different opinions, and in the end, you should come out with a better result with a mixture of these. Going into an argument or like a conversation or a discussion with your co-founders and thinking about like, oh, I can, I should convince them. This is already the wrong approach. It's like, what's their point of view? And then in the end, we should come out with something better. So. If you think about the stereotypes of, I mean, we're here in Berlin, right? And you go into Mitte, and then there are like these, the classic founder stereotype, and it's more like an echo chamber. I'm not sure if that's getting a lot of them somewhere, right? You need to have different people that bring different views to the table. So
is that a slight diss on Berlin?
No, not on Berlin, but on certain kind of people that that are more entrepreneurs as a lifestyle than actually building something.
Do you think it's better to have a team that's different to each other than thinking similarly?
Yes, absolutely.
You have different strengths.
If there is no ego involved, because this is always the killer for everything.
How do you manage to? Did you guys have to did that just happen naturally, or did you guys kind of work on shedding your egos and just getting down to business?
I think so. The other two guys are very cool, very down to earth, very humble people. Honestly, it's fantastic to work with them. And I can just speak for myself. I also had invested in my own health and development. So I did, I think, 3 years of like coaching, but also psychotherapy. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic, because even if you don't have any issues or any trauma or something, right? This just helps, because when you're a founder and you go these massive swings and roller coasters, there's so much stuff to comprehend. Just to have somebody once a week, maybe once a month, to help you sorting these things, right? This is like it's like going on the left lane on the highway all the time. You just need somebody where you say like, okay, progress, what happened, and this is a professional person asking you the right question, helping you to organize this is fantastic. And also, I mean, I overpaced. I tend to do things way too fast. I'm very impatient. And I also had to learn this the hard way. Like 2018, half a year, I had a very, very hard burnout with anxiety and like medication, everything.
Yeah.
This was all, I mean, the resilience I got afterwards is even better. I think I work more than before, but I work with a different state of mind and think about these things.
Is there any way of anticipating that? Or you said that working on yourself ahead of time can help you through those tough times.
Everybody I have ever met that's struggling with these problems, they all had the same conversation of theoretically you know it, theoretically everybody tells you this, but as long your body doesn't show it to you, you will not realize that it's happening. So yeah.
And it's very easy to let that happen, I think, isn't it?
Yes, because you get distracted a lot, and you stop listening or looking at yourself because there's so much stuff going on, and you're always having a lot of fear and anxiety, and this is not going right, and so on, that you actually stop looking after your own health.
Well, Eric, I think we could carry on talking all day about this, because there's so much to say about this journey of entrepreneurship, but it's really amazing what you guys have built, especially in Europe with Bitpanda. So all I can say is for now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Eric Demuth.
Thank you very much.
Bitpanda.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Something fell down? No?
Did you want to come?
Something fell down? I don't know.
All right, another break and then 2 more talks, and then we're done for the day before we go into COPE 100 and we go into all the things. How are you holding up? You're ready? Energy good? Yay, I haven't slept. I had too much coffee. We're going to be good. I see you again in 10 minutes.